Our focus this week is the leader in a ministry setting. We will talk about the imperative to understand the need to study the church culture. Many church leaders fail in ministry effectiveness because of cultural misunderstandings. They fail to understand the cultural distinctives of their church or ministry, or to have an appropriate appreciation for that culture. From my perspective, more leaders are impacted by this failure than the number that lack effectiveness because of integrity failure. Understanding the culture of our ministry and the people involved is critical to ministry effectiveness. This is a powerful statement by Dr. Chan in our reading for this week. He says, "This senior pastor had done a lot of good things, but he failed to understand the impact of the existing organizational culture on his new, exciting vision for the church. It was like changing the engine on a sports car to make it faster, but it was spinning its wheels in the mud." Or to use a different metaphor, he tried to transplant a heart into a patient whose body rejected the foreign organ. No matter how perfect the new heart was, the patient had no chance at all unless the body accepted it. Culture, not vision or strategy, is the most powerful factor in any organization. It determines the receptivity of staff and volunteers to new ideas, unleashes or dampens creativity, builds or erodes enthusiasm, and creates a sense of pride or deep discouragement about working or being involved there. Ultimately, the culture of an organization, particularly in churches and nonprofit organizations, but in any organization, shapes individual morale, teamwork effectiveness, and outcomes. I urge you to mark that quote. It's from page 2 in his book. In the middle of one of the list of Chronicles, there's an interesting statement. Quote, "The men of Issachar who understood the times and knew what Israel should do." That's 1 Chronicles 12:32. I believe that God usually blesses every ministry with somebody who understands the culture of the ministry, its people, and its potential constituency. It is crucial for the Christian leader to partner with that person, probe them with questions about the history of the ministry. What has worked? What has not? What are the points of resistance? Be discerning about the counsel you receive. Pray over it. Interact with your ministry coach. Ministry coach? What's that? It's a person who contacts you on a regular basis. Maybe it's weekly or every other week or monthly. But like any quality coach, the coach will probe various situations with important questions and help you to understand and gain insight to what is happening. The coach will help you grasp what is happening behind the scenes. You don't have a ministry coach? I urge you to get one as soon as possible. I have seen far too many churches and ministries significantly damaged by a new pastor or leader. He brings his personal cultural heritage and his previous ministry culture, and he tries to impose that culture on his new ministry. People are injured rather than shepherded. Approaches and methods of urban areas seldom work without significant modification in a small town or rural areas, and the opposite is true. Understanding the culture of the community also enhances your effectiveness. Our reading in Samuel Chan's Cracking Your Church's Culture, 7 Keys to Unleashing Vision and Inspiration, is very helpful. Other cultural factors must be considered. In an urban area, a person in a small group can request prayer for her relationship with a difficult boss. It's an anonymous request. However, in a small town, that the same request would probably be inappropriate and not expressed. People would know the boss or some of her relatives. They may be relatives themselves by marriage, or they might be a neighbor. I once had a parishioner smile and say to me, "Be careful what you say about somebody. We are all related somehow." And while I ministered there as an interim pastor, I heard some very interesting explanations how somebody was connected to somebody who had died or was in the news. Once, there was a new pastor who fired a long-term church secretary. I know about the situation personally. It was not me. The pastor did not know her deep connection to the people in the church. She had been the comfort and listening ear to the people during the tenures of numerous pastors. The result? The pastor left in a few months, but the secretary came back immediately and resumed her responsibilities. We are all aware of worship wars, but remember, the worship style of the church you're called to serve may have worshiped that way prior to your birth. Be sensitive. Learn to appreciate the culture of your church and community. Realize that some of your congregation will have listened to over 1,000 sermons in their church since you were born. Observe the memorials around the church. Often they indicate people and events of spiritual and cultural significance. To speak despairingly of it is to speak unkindly of somebody's great-grandfather or grandmother. To affect culture change requires earning credibility points. The congregants must be convinced that adopting something different is better than the pain of modifying the existing cultural method. Changes must be accomplished slowly. Mention your idea privately to a couple of influential people in the church. Discuss it with them individually. Seek their feedback. Listen carefully to their heart and their words. Be patient. Understanding the cultural distinctives of your congregants and ministry is essential to effective Christ-honoring leadership. Learn the culture of your people and the ministry.